Now, for the audience, if you can just briefly explain what is reinsurance.
Reinsurance. So reinsurance basically is a concept where it provides insurance to insurance companies.
So, if somebody wants to make a career into analytics, broader analytics, and specific to financial and risk analytics, what should be his career path, or how should he do it?
One is try to get a certification. FRM is really good certificate from to get into risk analysis, right? I've seen the content, and the content is great in terms of it's quite industry relevant, and FRM keeps on changing.
Yes,
right. I've seen that, right? So it's very nice in terms of to keep it up to date.
Would you recommend an engineer who is interested into analytics, specifically risk analytics, to do FRM or CFA while he's in college?
See, some of them who were well ahead in terms of the thought process. I actually found one derivatives trader, small derivatives trading company with 5 members, right? He chose that. So at an age, and he's in 2021, right? At that age,
he has the clarity.
He has the clarity what he wants, right? So certainly, I think the way we are.
And what do you think is AI going to impact analytics space? How it is going to impact? Hello guys, I hope everybody is doing good. Hi, this is Ganesh Nayak. I help finance professionals and students to excel in their career. And today I am in our Namma Bangalore, and we have a quick podcast with our friend Aniketan, and he's going to be talking about his journey into the risk analytics space, and how you can also become a part of that, and what skill sets and what career you can have in that field. So Aniketan, first of all, thank you very much for taking out time and talking to us. For the audience, if you can give a brief in terms of your journey till now.
Sure. So first of all, I think Ganesh, thanks for inviting. I think it's nice to be here, and I really hope that this podcast helps the students to make a career in also financial risk analytics type of roles. In terms of my career, I think where we can start from is I started my career from NSC, and I've actually done engineering in computers, and then through campus I got into NSC, National Stock Exchange, right? So, but before going to the career part, I just want to give a background, right?
Sure.
So I wanted to actually be a fighter pilot.
Wow. Okay.
And that for some reason didn't happen. So I was a bit not very excited about what I wanted to do. So everyone was doing engineering. So I thought, okay, let me get into engineering because the crowd was going that way. Got into engineering and did decently well. And through campus, I got into NSC. And I'll tell you an interesting thing, right? During one of my interviews at NSC, it was the campus placement. I was probably so naive in 2008 in terms of the markets, zero knowledge about the markets.
Okay.
For example, right, I can tell you. Back then, I actually asked the interview. So when we say that BSC is like, or Sensex is like Bombay, does Nifty actually mean Delhi or something of that sort, right? So much naive because we were back then, right? There was not so much information about markets and so on. And then I got into NSC. I was basically on the NSC tech part, on the technical side of things, responsible for running a lot of technical aspects, ensuring the systems are up and running, basically on the coding side, right? We used to do a lot of shell scripting. And that's when I came to NSC, I really got fascinated with stock market and looking at all things happening live. Everything is ticking. If the systems are down, immediately if the feed is going down, we can see it on CNBC. The entire floor is running up and down, right? In terms of trying to figure out what's the issue. So basically, I really enjoyed the thrill, the liveliness of things, and the responsibility that we used to get as juniors, right? So for example, our seniors used to joke around a bit, saying that अगर तुमने गलती किया, इंडेक्स में कुछ हो गया, तो नीचे CNBC studio है, will take you and tell that इन्होंने गलती किया. Of course, they were kidding, but a lot of responsibility was given at the batch that I was working in. So from a very beginning of my career, right, I was working under very high pressure environment. So the team also that I worked in was very nice in terms of understanding the different financial products and talking to different people. NSC as a whole, I felt is more like an institution because all the things in a way, right, related to market emerged from there. For example, if VIX had to be brought in India, right, you get to see it firsthand there. And we got to learn on a lot of projects. We were heavily encouraged to look into products and different things. And so after 2 years, right, I got a feeling that, oh, I need to look
Move
out a
out and
bit more
change. Yeah.
and see how it works in the international markets, because pretty much the entire trade life cycle, right, from the broker punching the orders, members coming and hitting to our systems, trade matching, sorry, the order matching that happens, from there how it flows down to below
Settlement and
systems,
all.
right, from like risk management and then settlement, the end
You've
to
seen
end,
everything.
everything in just 2 years, because the learning curve was very steep and they encouraged a lot
Okay.
to learn, because they said that you cannot learn these things by joining a course outside, right?
Right, right, right.
So we got to learn a lot of things in terms of how settlement happens. For example, the span margin, right? Standard portfolio analysis,
Initial margin system.
16 scenarios with price shock and mega shocks, right? So all these weeks we saw it very first hand, and it was a very
Okay.
nice experience. Talking to the business users was also very good. So Nigel D'Souza, which you see on CNBC TV 18, he was once upon a time. He was one of my business users, right?
Okay.
So I worked in different systems, index surveillance, and I think it was a very good experience. So I wanted to explore a bit of international markets. So I got into JP Morgan after that.
Okay.
Spent about a year. Again, that was a bit of a tech role. And after that, happened to get a nice opportunity at Morgan Stanley. So it was in the prime brokerage division. It was mainly, that was a big shift in my career when I moved from IT to the business side. And this, because this role was techno-functional at Morgan
Okay.
Stanley, they required certain skills when it comes to coding or SQL at that point in time. And I have not studied finance, to be honest, right? I've not done an MBA, but because of the learnings I got from NSE, I could crack that interview. They had almost 9 to 10 interviews, and then somehow I got
Wow.
to
Okay.
crack that. And then and that was a very nice experience, because now you're working less on shell scripting type of things, but more on
Business.
Excel, business, and risk margining, and heavy risk margining, right? Clients and working with hedge funds, right? So that was a very nice experience. I was there for close to 6 to 7 years.
Wow.
Got to learn a lot in terms of international markets, hedge funds. The team, the departments was very supportive.
It was a prime brokerage.
It was a prime brokerage division, right?
Okay.
So got to travel also to the US a couple of times, spent a few months also there, interact. That's when my exposure to the global markets happened. Tried to understand. So it was pretty much on the Wall Street and Times Square, right? Our offices were basically experiencing the vibe of a
Yes.
global
Financial hub. Yes.
So it was a very nice experience. And so I was thinking, right, I got to see risk management from an exchange perspective, which is at a very different level, very high speed level than to Morgan Stanley, for example, right? And then I thought, okay, then this opportunity came. So till now I was in Mumbai for 10 years. And then I got an opportunity from Swiss Re in Bangalore. This was again with So I was a bit not sure, right, if you wanted to get into it, because this was core reinsurance and I didn't have much of a background.
Very big shift from the
Very big
previous.
shift, very big shift. So I, because I'm part of the financial risk team here. Our department is called Solvency and Financial Risk Management. So it's like a team of individuals who are come with financial risk knowledge, sitting in a reinsurance firm, right? So I have my space there in terms of the products and knowledge skills that we have. But broadly, given it's a reinsurance firm, right? I was not sure at the beginning, but I think when I came, I think it was a good decision. So it was pretty nice in terms of what we had to experience in terms of how a reinsurance firm looks at risk management, right? So if you see broadly, I've had experience in seeing risk management in an exchange, and then an investment bank, and then to a reinsurance firm, right? So
Wide. You've seen in kind of a scope of things, different scope of things in the overall career. Now, for the audience, if you can just briefly explain what is reinsurance.
Reinsurance. So reinsurance basically is a firm, or I would say a concept where it provides insurance to insurance companies. So reinsurance firms generally have to be very stable, because they are providing insurance to insurance companies. Insurance companies cannot fail, right? If they do, then the risk is mitigated basically by reinsuring a particular product. For example, right? If suppose we have people who take suppose life insurance, right? Imagine they pay $100 of premium,
Right.
then they take it, say, from an insurance company. Insurance company is receiving $100,
Right.
and this insurance companies, they don't want to take the full risk on this. They want to mitigate it, right? So what they do is they go ahead and they say, okay, a part of this portfolio, which we call it as treaty, they will take, say, imagine 10,000 people of LIC or whatever, right? Individual portfolio, individual policies, club it at, which we call it as treaty, and then they will go ahead and get the reinsurance from a reinsurance firm. Basically, this is to mitigate risk. So imagine, just hypothetically, I'm saying, right, 40% of the book that they have, they give it to reinsurance. They would also pass on the premium that they would get. So typically, for a reinsurance firm, it is also they look at things at a higher level, right? They don't want to talk to each and individual clients, right? So there's a lot of admin cost that is there. So, for example, if LIC has to, they have to really go down to the lowest possible level and get a policy written. But for a reinsurance firm,
it's entire pool that is
entire pool that is coming in, right? So it is a little bit different.
But reinsurance companies will work with insurance company across the globe.
Across the globe, yes. So the firm that I'm working with is one of the largest firms, reinsurance firms in the world, and anywhere, right, in terms of risk, right, you write a lot of business across the globe, right? So we have life and health, PNC, which is property and casualty. So if due to COVID, people are impacted due to COVID, for example, when it happened, right, we underwrite, like the Olympics was going on in Japan, right? So all these are reinsured.
Right.
So if an event does not happen, gets cancelled, we need to pay, right? If there's a flood that is happening right now in Spain, we need to pay. If there's an earthquake that happens in Japan, we need to pay. Wimbledon got cancelled because of X reasons, we need to pay. There was a very nice article about, for example, right, Wimbledon saying that it paid premiums for some 100 years or something, and now they got a claim which is much more than the cumulative sum of the premiums that we paid. So that also shows how much how much important is insurance also. Yes.
Okay, and at the end, the reinsurance company will diversify across the globe, and that is how the primarily an insurance business would do. They will diversify their stakes.
Yes.
And now one more very basic question, that you are into financial risk analytics.
Yes.
What do you do in that, and do you have any separate sub teams into that who are looking into one specific angle, likewise?
See, for example, financial risk analytics, like I said, from a reinsurance perspective, or I can also give a slightly broader perspective, right, is you have assets, right? Typically, financial assets like bonds, equities, different pieces, right? And the way, if I have to explain the role, right, you have once you have these different asset class products, there are also risk exposures associated with it. Basically, what is the amount that I'm going to lose, right, if a catastrophic, or if anything happens in the market, right, for example, or if a wrong call is taken and if it goes against you, which we call it as the risk exposures, for example, right? Now, these risk exposures on a daily basis change broadly due to three reasons. Right? We classify it as three reasons. Broadly, if you see, it's active and passive. Active is due to the decisions that the business takes, right? And for example, if they want to buy certain hedges, if they want to do certain things from business perspective, which is more suitable to the business. And second is passive, which is due to the macro environment, right? If there's a change in interest rate. So if you look at the book, there are different risk factors associated with the book, right? For example, interest rate risk, credit spread risk, equity risk, hedge fund risk. If it is into real estate, then real estate different type risk, right? So there are different types of risks that are associated, which we typically call it as risk factors, right? So we try to look at the risk of the book based on these risk factors. Each of these risk factors would also have something called as a risk limit, which is kind of set.
What is the maximum I can take as a company?
As a company across these risk factors, right? And across different desks. So there are limits across different structures that are there. And one of the core roles of a financial risk analytics team, analytics and reporting team, is to analyze these risks on a daily basis. When I say analyze, this is every day we send something called as an AOC, which is analysis of change. So an analyst has to go check why the exposure changed. Is it due to active or passive? If it is active, does it make sense? Talk to the real people who've done this change in terms of buying and selling, and understand why they are doing it.
Okay.
Understand if they are buying a position, what is the real reason why they are buying. Then you also try to correlate. If they're trying to put in an hedges, right? You really try to understand what is the logic behind putting this hedge at this point in time, at this market scenarios, right?
Okay.
So that the commentary is more refined and helpful for the audience of the report. And the third reason which I mentioned, right, is not just active passive. We also call it as FX, which can come into passive, but
Okay.
separately we look at FX movements, right? As a
So
separate,
you're making a loss because of that.
because of loss, it can happen, right?
Okay.
There's a risk that is run, right? And I'm talking about in general, not just related to specific, right? So once this happens, but I just want to take a step back and go, right. For any risk analyst to do certain things, the most important thing is data. Without data, it's
Okay.
not going to happen. He or she has to ensure that the data quality has to be of the topmost, right? Because if the data is incorrect, for whatever reason it's inflated or deflated, the end reports are going to be really impacted, and it's not going to help anyone, right? So it's very important that the data is of the prime quality. So there are checks that we do typically to ensure that the quality of the data is at the top.
Right.
Once the data is top, once those checks have been done, then it gets pushed into certain systems for the reports to get generated.
Okay.
Right. Either earlier back then, we can come to that a bit later, where how risk reporting or risk analytics was done like 10 years ago and how it's being
Now,
done.
I have a question for that also.
Okay.
Question for that. But so when we hear about insurance business or insurance, catastrophic modeling is also there. So is it a part of your team, or there's a separate team which takes care of it?
It is a separate team which takes care of it. So when I talk about my current role, right? So if you think about it, when an underwriter goes, typically a reinsurance firm's revenue would be on two bases broadly, right? One is underwriting. You go and you sell a policy and you get the business. That's
Right.
You earn premiums. And the other is to take these premiums and put it into
Invest
assets
in
so
the
that you generate a return.
Right.
So I'm on this side of the piece where asset management return. So we receive the
Okay.
premiums, we put it into markets, and we have to generate a certain level of return that needs to be done. So we're responsible for managing the risk of this portfolio. So it's out. So Swiss Re has $100+ billion of portfolio.
So the underwriting risk, there's a separate team which takes care of it.
Yes, separate team. So
Okay.
there is a separate team that specifically looks at those type of risks.
Okay. Now, in a normal analytics team, you see normally engineers being there.
Yes.
And apart from engineers, what variety of people have joined, or you have seen that they have become a part of the team?
So it's very interesting. One of the guys in my team is actually a chartered accountant.
Okay.
So it's not specifically also the way we want to work, because I don't want to have 10 IITians in my team, for example, or 10 engineers in my team. Then I may not get the best out of it, right? I want a variety of people in the team so that everyone complements their skill sets. So, for example, when we hired one of the individuals like a couple of years ago, he comes with a chartered accountant background, which the team lacked. Right.
Okay.
And it's very important, specifically in the type of firm that we are in, to understand the balance sheet.
Right.
So he gives us that perspective when it comes to balance sheet, and what we give is in terms of understanding the technical aspects. And let me tell you that he's picked it up so well in terms of technical skill sets and understanding. He did completed FRM GARP within a year, one shot, and he's picked up coding R and Python in a very short span of time.
Okay.
Because his aptitude skill is there, right? And he is actually one of the best coders that we have. He codes better than a lot of engineers that I know, right? So what I feel is, of course, engineers are there, and we also have people who have done MBAs. We also have people who have done CQFs, FRM. So at least half of my team is FRM certified.
Okay.
And then we also have chartered accountants. We actually also get actuarials in our team. So one of the recent hires is we want to get actual, because somehow, even though you are in that OSS of financial risk management, a lot of connection happens to the
You're still a part of the insurance business.
Exactly.
So
we need to understand that, and we need to understand those aspects of things. So we also have actuaries for us to give better perspectives.
So if somebody wants to make a career into analytics, broader analytics, and specific to financial and risk analytics, what should be his career path, or how should he do it?
As I think, one is try to get a certification. in
Mm-hmm.
terms of a certification or have some type of financial course done. You have to basically get that knowledge in some form, either through your work, which may be time consuming the way I went through, or
Mm.
someone can actually do an MBA from a good college, try to understand the financial products, right? So understanding the financial products is the core first.
Okay.
And before that, right, the core is having that aptitude or analytical skill. You should be really in love with data. You should be
Okay.
able to swim in data. That love and passion for data should be there,
Right.
right? If that is not there, I think I would say it's not really, if you want to get into analytics side of things, because we crunch data left, right, center. We are working with like millions and billions of rows,
Mm.
right? And then you need to have that passion. If you are not comfortable with data, I think it's difficult. So once you know that you want to do something with data, you want to find what is the hidden thing into it. If you have that passion for that, then you can do certain certifications in terms of products, because products pretty much globally are standard, right? Or if you for example, if you want to understand options, right, if you understand the core of options, really how it works,
Mm.
you can make that as an anchor and learn, say, credits for options, interest rates for options, because
Right.
pretty much it's the same concept, right?
Got it.
But if you
Yes.
understand the option in depth in terms of the Greeks, how it works, how is a premium, a lot of people don't. So these are the things back then I understood in NSC, right? we
Ah.
used to we used to talk to the business users, and then we used to understand, अरे यार ये square of और exercise में क्या difference है.
Mm.
And then a lot of people still don't know this, right? It cannot be written in books. Of course the definitions are written, but what really is happening from a
Got it.
thought process, right? So these things are quite important to understand. So if you have one strong, if you can make anchor one product class and you can build it around it, I think you can grow much faster. So product knowledge is definitely there. First is, I would say, data.
Mm.
Second is product knowledge, and third, these days specifically, which I wanted to talk to you about, is what we used to do, risk management, or not risk management, but reporting and
Mm.
analytics before, right? Back then it was pretty much Excel that we had, right?
Right.
But these days, surely because of the size of data, sheer data, right, Excel is still great, but if you want to process things much faster at a different level, right, you need R, you need Python, right? And
Okay.
having these type of skill sets, right, is become very, very important these days. So understanding financial knowledge and being able to apply that. For example, if I
Okay.
want to compute a var,
Mm.
really going back to 1990, right? I want to have multiple scenarios. I cannot possibly do it very
Do it in
easily in
Excel.
Excel, right?
Right.
Probably I can take a smaller subset and get 10 cents. But if I want to done different parameter optimization, if I want to do a lot of things, I think we need R, and we need definitely languages like Python. And the second aspect I want to talk to you about is the reporting aspect, right?
Mm.
Earlier, reporting used to be again in Excel, and then you take a chart, you write comments.
Ah.
These days, the what I feel the biggest change has been is been in terms of visualization. So again, my team has developed like tons of dashboards now in R and in a Python. So for someone who is seeing, right, I think if you can really understand R for computational transformations, a lot of packages are there.
Mm.
And then if you can also try to build certain types of dashboards which will help the user to look at those analytics,
Right.
right? See, one is generating the analytics, right?
Mm.
And second is being able to show that analytics in a way that it's eye catching. There are tons of things, and you want to focus only on this, right? This breach or this item where the risk is. You have to build it in a way which is easily interpretable.
Right.
And to be able to do that, like we have like something in R called as R Shiny. In
Mm-hmm.
Python, we have something called as Streamlit, which has been extensively used. So having these skill sets will take it to the next level. And these are the things I think one who wants to get into financial risk analytics, being comfortable with data, being able to pull data, having a good sense of SQL, if you're working in a different type of DAX, MDX, these type of things,
Right.
then R, Python, and product knowledge, right? If these three are there, I think it would be an end-to-end nice aspect
To succeed in the
to succeed in
analytics
financial
role. But
analytics.
somebody who has, suppose, only the understanding of Python,
Mhm,
dashboard part of
mhm,
Python,
mhm.
but does not have much understanding about, say, the how data is worked, or basically the products. Still, he can at least start his journey.
Uh, I would say that it would not be, because that then there's no difference between that person and an IT person.
Okay.
right? An
Okay.
IT person who has basic visualization but really doesn't understand, he doesn't know which piece I should really focus on,
Okay.
right? So it may be a little difficult, but if that person really has some sense, for example, in these certifications like FRM, FRM is really good certificate from to get into risk analysis, right? I've seen the content, and the content is great in terms of it's quite industry relevant, and FRM keeps on changing,
Yes, every.
right? I've seen that, right? So it's very nice in terms of to keep it up to date, but that's again theory, right? It's theory, but until unless you actually take it and apply it in your work, and to do the application on humongous data, you need the skill set of R and Python, right? So I do feel if they want to make a good career in this aspect, these three combinations would certainly help.
Okay. Would you recommend an engineer who is interested into analytics, specifically risk analytics, to do FRM or CFA while he is in college?
Certainly. No, I think these days, I tell you, right, we were doing one of the hires, just like it was one of the responsibilities of the firm to go ahead and hire apprenticeships, specifically from tier 3, tier 4 colleges, right? It was just to give an
Okay.
experience in terms of what it is. And I was shocked to see some of them who were well ahead in terms of the thought process. I actually found one derivatives trader, and he coming knowing that he may not have a job opportunity in a big MNC easily, and I wanted to offer him because it was for a 6-month period or so. And but he was so well ahead in terms of derivatives trading, and he apparently got an offer from a derivatives trading firm in Bangalore itself, and he was very sure he had this option of going to an MNC, okay, and doing getting it on his resume, and a small
Derivative trading.
derivatives trading company with 5 members, right? He chose that. So
Wow.
at an age, and he's I think 2021, right? At that age,
He
from a
has the
tier 3, he
clarity.
has the clarity what he wants, right? So certainly I think the way we are, what I think I was in college, if I compare with my peers compared to what I see in terms of the thanks to all the podcasts that are happening, the knowledge of people has increased a lot,
Right.
right?
Right.
In terms of just financial discipline, savings. I have seen like youngsters, right? 21, 22 years putting majority of the salary in SIPs, and also enjoying at the same time doing, financial discipline. So there's a lot of awareness. So with that, I wanted to say that definitely they should do it in college.
While they're in college itself.
Definitely, because see, you may not really be able to connect it in college, but it will set a background for you, right? It
Right.
will, okay, ऐसा कुछ है, right? ऐसा risk देखते हैं, something will be there. Even if they don't clear it, it's okay, right?
At least they've gone through the
They've
content.
gone through. It's very important to go through the content if they really want to go into risk analytics. But I don't know, even at that age, if they want to, if they have the clarity that I want to go into financial risk analytics, right?
I think so. What right now kids are doing, people who have cleared the 12th standard also, they know that if I want to be in finance, I might do MBA later because it's a other thing. CA, very specific people are interested because they have
Yeah.
seen it. For them, either CFA FRM is a very good option that I will might take a decision what I will do later, but at least I'll learn the product side. I'll learn the basics
Yes.
through these certifications.
Yes. Yes.
I'll do that and then I'll see what I can do in the future.
Yes,
So I think
yes.
that is what is happening right now when I'm talking to a lot of students.
Yes, yes. So what they can also do is FRM, of course, is very detailed content, and probably they might get intimidated and say, "Oh, I don't want to do this at this in college," right? I can also suggest that they can start something with NCFM, which is
Yes.
with these certifications which are not very. So I did my NCFM in NSC, right? We used to study. I gave like 10, 15, because
Modules of it, yeah.
it was also sponsored by the firm.
Yes.
So we gave like 15 of them, and that formed a decent base, right? And then you can build upon it, and then you can do FRM and CFA. Also, the way I look at, if I have to map business or financial product understanding with technical, the parallel I would draw is FRM. I feel is a bit more similar to R, because FRM is core specifically related to risk aspect of things, and R is also related to specific statistical pieces of things. So FRM and R combination would go very well. On the contrary, CFA, which is I feel is a broader term,
Right.
and with that I would relate Python, because with Python you can do a lot of things which you probably cannot do it in R.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So FRM and R, and Python and CFA, I think, are more broader. So I think that combination would good.
One thing that you look at in terms of interviews, when you take interviews,
Mhm.
one quality you look from in the candidate.
Depth. So we conduct interviews in a very special way. We I think it's also coming in from my boss. Uh, we don't ask typically the things that we want them to know or the job requires.
Okay.
We don't ask them. We say, you tell us what's your specialized area, right? They'll say, oh, I'm coming from this specialized area. And then we say, okay, we don't want to judge you on what we want to get into. Of course, those aspects are there, but first we want to see the depth in terms of what you think you are best at.
Okay.
So someone who came, I think, back then said that I'm best in trading, I'm best in certain aspect of things. We said, okay, just, do us a presentation of 35, 40 minutes, and we would focus on the depth of things, and we'll just go, deeper and deeper.
So you ask him to make a presentation and come to the interview.
Come to the interview,
Wow.
just to see the depth of things, right? We want to see how deep you can go in the topic which you think you are best at. Forget about us for now, right? We want to see what you think you are best at.
Okay.
And then if we really like his content, then because that gives us an understanding that this person wants to go deeper, and that is what we need, right? And that has worked wonderfully for us in terms of people that we've hired.
Okay, interesting. So all the students, all the candidates who are looking after for analytics area, this is one very good way of explaining your level of expertise or your level of interest, basically.
Interest, yes.
Wonderful. Any books, any specific website that you feel that somebody in this space can learn from?
I think related to financial risk analytics, I don't know if there are any books or such, but I think if we can get into a lot of these YouTube channels are there, which certainly help you understand the financial products, right? FRM CFA, which we already spoke about. If they want to understand broader investment related things, I think I personally like the Intelligent Investor a lot. Then the Psychology of Money by Ravi Namakant.
Charles, no, Psychology of Money, right?
Yes, I think it's a wonderful book, right? I had read
Charles Morgan.
no, Navakant, I think.
That is Noel Ravikant. That is different. That is different.
That's different. Is it? He is different.
Ah.
Okay.
So one very different question. If you would have started your career now,
Mhm.
how you would have done it differently?
In risk analytics,
Same, yeah.
okay. First, for sure, I would have taken up, I think, one of the courses done in CFM to get an interest and try to understand if this excites me. Second, I would have done something in FRM or either CFA, right? Third, at the same time, I would have tried to really apply those skills. For example, if I got VAR, can I take some historical time series and then try to really compute VAR in Excel, and then try to compute VAR in R or Python, right? So that this actually gives a base in terms of, can I really apply the concepts that I learned
Okay.
in a real time world, because that forms a base,
Right.
And then certainly networking, okay, talking to different people who are in that industry, ensuring you are connected. These days I also see a lot of people get with the social media, right? The kind of posts that you're putting are also acting as a way to judge you, or in a way to see, right, what is the type of understanding that you have about a particular subject, right? So for example, if I see certain, so one of the two hires were actually through LinkedIn requests, right? That
Wow.
happened. So and one of the things that I did was wanted to see what type of post that I've done, just understanding the mindset, right? So certainly, I think, like I said, right, NCFM certification, understanding the product knowledge, do a bit of coding, basic things, right? We don't want anything fancy. Just getting familiar with that area, right? And then again, you have
Okay.
FRM and then higher levels of certifications and get
Right.
into it, and then maybe just prepare
So
for
one
the
connecting question over here. You talked about LinkedIn.
Mhm.
So for, at a personal level, so when you are hiring somebody, you will go to the LinkedIn profile. You'll also look at what he's been posting, how he's engaging, basically.
Yes, if that person is, if he's approaching me from there, I would try to see, right,
Acha. Okay.
what is the thought process. Is it just copy paste, or is there is also a thought process there, right?
Right. Right.
So that is happening a lot these days, I feel.
I tell this to all my FRM students at least, that if you're looking at products, so there's so much publicly available information that you have.
Yeah.
Download it, do something on it, so that
Exactly.
you have a portfolio to show that okay, I've been doing this apart from just studying for my exam.
Exactly.
That is how it will create a
Example,
value.
the Swiggy IPO is going on, right?
Hmm.
Who stops you from valuing it?
Hmm.
You can do your own valuation,
Right.
not copy paste, but try to understand, value it, and put it out there, right? And
Right.
see, this is what I feel, right? So for me, my job doesn't have to, risk analytics has nothing to do with an IPO, but it gives me a sense that this person has that love for markets,
Hmm.
and has that understanding of things, and can crunch his own numbers, and he has a thought of his own, right? Not copy paste, right? These days that also happens,
Right.
and
Because the data is so huge.
data is so huge. Yes, yes.
And what do you think is AI going to impact analytics space? How it is going to impact?
A lot.
Okay.
A lot, for sure. It's time to come, and specifically, right, we use a lot of, we've created ourselves in-house certain ML models, specifically, like I mentioned, right? First is ensuring that the data is right, then there is transformation in the metrics that is created,
Mhm.
and then we have the reporting aspect. So reporting aspect, if I have to talk about, is typically our visualizations, Power BI, ClickView,
Right.
our Shiny dashboards, Streamlit dashboards,
Mhm.
right? That is for visualization. Power BI also, if I have not mentioned, right? Transformation, certainly you can use R and Python. A lot of libraries are there, deploy, tidyverse, tons of them are there, which pandas for Python, right? You can get comfortable with. And on data quality side, that's where we put, like I mentioned in the previously also, that data has to be at the topmost quality. So we receive data from different sources, and there's certain, I can give you an example, right? There's certain examples of data which is pretty much non-linear in nature. For examples, there you cannot put an if then else condition and scan things, right? You need some certain sophisticated techniques
To understand the trend and all.
understand not just the trend, but the strong relationships. We use neural networks in a way
Okay.
to figure out how it works.
So it has already started in the analytics.
It is
now.
started. It is started.
One advice that you got in your career,
Mhm.
which helped you to grow.
Don't think so much before changing a job, I think,
Okay.
because if you see my career, right, I have not done
A traditional
path,
Ha,
right?
ha.
I have just said things, look at it, it excited me, got into it, gave my 100%, and then just when I felt that my learning was done, right, I felt that pretty much 90% is what I learned, and I don't want to go much deeper, but I want to explore more. So I just, in a way, switched, right?
Okay.
And
Wonderful.
and I think for the youngsters, I would say at the beginning of their career, don't focus on money. Focus on learning, because money will follow, right? Certainly, that has to come in the future. But if you can focus and garner a lot of experience, understanding products, working in high pressure environment, because somewhere now I feel, because I worked in NSC in a really high pressure environment, because it was live,
Right.
real life. You log into the system, we were scared to even touch it, because we were responsible for Nifty index systems, right? We were responsible for disseminating a lot of information to risk systems. So a lot of systems, right? If you do something there, it's gone, right? So working, ensuring, so at 9 o'clock in the morning, we have to give out a message to a senior management that all the systems were up and running, right? And there was a message that goes out to all the senior people, and then that message sending is so critical, because everyone is talking about you. Oh, the market. If you see CNBC, right, or any news channel, they'll be talking about, oh, the markets are going to live. They're discussing about everything, and you know that these are the things. Things have to work. So a lot of pressure is there, and because of having worked in a high pressure environment very early in my career, right now, things can be managed much easily. So for youngsters, I would say, try to take heavy risks, I would say, and try to work in high pressure environments, so that you are accustomed to it,
Right.
at an early age. Because as you get, slowly down with family, kids, right, your risk taking ability naturally drops.
Right.
So try to have that risk taking ability built up very high in the early part of your career, so that it can help you later.
Wonderful. We have a final segment, which is a FinShot segment.
Okay.
Okay. Quickly, top 3 skill set you need to be in analytics.
Coding,
Hmm.
product knowledge, love for data.
One book every finance student should read.
I think The Intelligent Investor.
Intelligent Investor. One piece of advice which you wish you had when
I
you
wish
started.
I had. Okay. I actually was given that advice to start SIP, at the first, and then I said, "Kya karunga main, right? 500 rupees." se."
Okay,
My
okay.
senior had told me in a way, and then I neglected that. But I would really recommend that to someone who's starting. Be it 500 rupees, it would make a lot of difference in the end.
Okay. Biggest myth of working in analytics.
I think people just think it's only about coding. Probably right. People think that it's only okay, data science and Gen Z, these type of things, right? It's these are technologies which will help you to solve risk management problems, right? The base
Right.
has to be very strong. If you don't have the domain knowledge, you cannot really apply these skill sets to get things out.
Wonderful. It was a great session. And
Thank
again,
you.
thank you very much
Thank you
for
so
talking
much.
to us. And this really, really will be very helpful for a lot of students, not only FRM CFA, but engineering students who
Okay.
plan to get into analytics or
Okay.
they want to explore this side because
Okay.
data science is a buzz right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So, very, very interesting conversation. Thank you very
Thank
much
you
for
so
taking
much.
out time.
Thank you for your time.